Are sold.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, welcome back. You are listening to this show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. You can get on my website, shalomklein.com. That's where you can download podcasts from the past 6+ years of programs that have aired here on Get Down to Business. Some fantastic conversations, including my next guest, which is Danielle Perry, who is the executive director at Growing Home. But Danielle has an incredible resume that is miles and miles long. Danielle is an attorney, but has been very involved in the world of service, both in serving in Congress as a staff person, as well as really fascinating backgrounds as a special advisor to the Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights at the USDA and the Director of Communications and Outreach at the City of Chicago Office of Inspector General. Danielle, it's such a pleasure having you on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. So, Danielle, I just did the very brief version of your bio, but there's so much more that I can share. Danielle, who are you, and what causes you to have that inspiration to serve in all of those different capacities that we talked a little bit about?
Yeah, I feel like you read my whole life story. You guys don't need me to say anything else, but so I'm originally from the south side of Chicago and the south suburbs of Chicago. And, I grew up with parents my parents are doctors, but they always served folks. They always worked in communities that really need help. And they weren't looking for the most lucrative job, but for the folks who needed the most help. And so I grew up in that kind of household, in a church that was all about service. And I think it just was innate. This is who I've always been, a fighter for people who needed it, and somebody who was really committed to public service. So even at a young age, I had a desire to work in public service. So I went to law school right after college in Washington, D.C. at Howard University. And after law school, I worked the Obama campaign for a little bit and then worked on the Hill. And even when I worked on the Hill, I worked for Congressman Kristen Holland, and I did mostly constituent service. And it was actually directly helping people day to day. So if you have a problem with Social Security, or, you're at that point, the Affordable Care Act was rolling out. All those things were under me. And it was really great to see people's lives change and help them fix problems that they really struggled with. So, that's always what made me feel good. That's a job I love to have. And I've learned even in this new job at Growing Home, the ability to come to work every day and see the transition of folks' lives is what makes me most happy. So obviously when you take these jobs,
caught the bug. You caught the bug that, and it's contagious and it doesn't go away, that bug for service, which is incredible. And I know you're on your next chapter of that service bug and that service journey at Growing Home. So Danielle, you're the executive director, and tell us a little bit about Growing Home, because it's a fantastic, fascinating mission that probably most of our listeners don't know about quite yet, but I'm just so excited to get them involved and have them learn that story.
Absolutely. So Growing Home is on the south side of Chicago. We're a nonprofit. And really, Growing Home is 18 years old. It was all started with a partnership between the Chicago Community Trust and Growing Home to help folks who lived in a homeless shelter find employment. So they owned a farm downstate Illinois. They would teach them how to farm, teach them how to grow their own food, and then they would sell that produce at the farmers markets around the city. And that model has grown to not just being about folks who have housing insecurities, but people with all type of barriers. And we are now solely in Inglewood, which is one of the most food insecure neighborhoods, and West Inglewood, where we are, has one of the highest unemployment rates in Chicago. So at Growing Home is helping folks not only find employment by working at our job training program, which is paid. We're one of the few job programs in the city that's actually paid, but teaching people how to grow their own food from seed all the way to harvest, and then processing it and selling it all over the city. And one of the things we're doing right now is we have opened up Growing Home as an access point for fresh, healthy, affordable food. We are the only USDA certified organic high production farm in the city of Chicago. And I think now us being an access point for healthy, affordable food is a great start for Growing Home to continue into its adolescence, well into the 20 years. So we sell produce half off in Inglewood and on the South Side. And if you are a SNAP recipient, we double value, which means you get it for almost another half off. So I love the fact that Growing Home not only helps people find full-time employment, but also helping people in the community find healthy, affordable food.
And I love the motto, we believe everyone deserves a good job and good food. And I know your work was featured in the Wall Street Journal about a month ago or so, I believe, in the overall conversation about food deserts. And it's really, really important. Now the attention is on communities like Englewood in terms of ensuring that those resources are provided. So Danielle, I have to ask, with your background, I know you worked on the Hill and I know you worked on the Obama campaign and you've been involved in so many interesting things. Did you ever imagine that you'd be involved in agriculture in this world? I know it's been this journey and I'm curious how it's led to this point.
Yeah, I get that question a lot, especially as an attorney. You know, people in law school know I never thought I'd be going to a farm every day. I'll tell you that. But when I worked on the Hill, I was offered the opportunity to serve the Obama administration as an advisor. And when I went to my first interview at the White House, they asked me what my interests were. And I was like, education and civil rights. And I was so excited. And I would say a month later, they called me and said, okay, what do you think about civil rights in agriculture? And I was like, agriculture, right. But it's a blessing and a once in a lifetime opportunity to serve in an administration like President Obama's. And so I jumped in. And one of the main things I worked on was the USDA Civil Rights Office initiative on food and community gardens. And we were basically going to communities like Englewood every single day and building gardens that are still in existence today. And, you know, what some people call food deserts, but at the very least, very food insecure communities that really needed it. And after that, I became really passionate about that work. And so I'm excited to now be here 4 years after leaving, or 3.5 years after leaving the Obama administration, and still doing that work in my hometown. So that's how I got into it, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy to be able to serve people. And during COVID, we've been giving out food for free in Englewood rather than selling our produce. We're 100% delivery of our produce right now to community members and our graduates since the pandemic started, and just happy to be able to be here and serving our community.
I'm chatting with Danielle Perry, the executive director of Growing Home, and we've talked a lot about food. We've talked about your background and how it's led to agriculture. And we will make sure that in a moment that our listeners know where they can reach you and get involved and donate. So important to support that mission of providing sometimes free food, which is just incredible and such an important need in these neighborhoods. But the jobs piece, and the jobs piece is not just, you know, often when back when things were normal and we were having coffee, you know, you'd say, oh, what do you do? And really that's such a deep and loaded question of what do you do? A job is about self-esteem and identity. Tell us a little bit about some of those success stories.
Yeah, so Growing Home has about an 85 to 90% placement rate into full-time employment. So our program is 14 weeks long and it's paid, but it's going to help people land into jobs. And what we've been doing more and more is helping people move and transition towards careers. So not just having a survival job, but something that you can take and change the trajectory of your life. My favorite story is Antoine. When I first started at Growing Home, I met him. He left Growing Home and went on to transport food for a local grocery store. And then eventually he took a CDL course and then started renting his own truck so he could save up and purchase his own truck. And the day I met him, my second day of work, he had just become fully insured, and the owner of his own trucking company. And to me, that is how you change a neighborhood. It's not just about giving somebody a chance to get a job, but helping them move towards a career that can not only change their family's lives, but in the end, with the ability to own his own business, you could change a community like that. And he's just an example of what Growing Home can do.
It's incredible impact is really the key word. And you are having an impact with food, with jobs, so many amazing things that you should be so proud of. And our listeners no doubt are wondering where they can learn more, how they can get involved, how they can support. Can you share some contact information?
Of course. Well, you can check out Growing Home's website at growinghomeinc.org. And on the website, you can learn more about our different programs and the work that we do, and also, of course, how to donate. We're on Instagram at Growing Home, and on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, all at Growing Home. So please check out the website. We'd love to have you join us, volunteer, and of course, donate.
Of course. Well, Danielle Perry, Executive Director of Growing Home, thanks so much for joining us on Get Down to Business. We're going to squeeze in a quick break. After that, we'll be joined by more tips, advice, and guests all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. You're listening to Get Down to Business. We'll be right back.
If anybody doubted